My name is Elena Nutt. I am the English Language Arts Literacy Coordinator for the department. This presentation will share information related to dyslexia, the K-3 SMART project, and literacy intervention. I want to step back to the 2021 legislative session when the Idaho Achievement and Accountability Act was written through Senate Bill 1006. This bill repealed 33-1614, 1615, and 1616, and amended Title 33 by adding a new Chapter 18. There are 11 sections in the Idaho Achievement and Accountability Act. Section 1 provides the legislation title. Section 3 outlines the legislative findings, and Section 10 is rulemaking authority. So they are not listed here. The definition for dyslexia has been added to Section 2, and an additional Section 11 will be added from House Bill 731, which we will go through in just a few minutes. We have created an overview document for Chapter 18. This identifies some of the responsibilities of both LEAs and the Department of Education, including which section of the chapter they are found within. I encourage you to read the entire chapter because Senate Bill 1006 did add additional requirements from what was in the previous Chapter 16, Sections 14, 15, and 16, related to literacy assessment, intervention, and instruction. This overview is not an exhaustive list of all the requirements within and does not include requirements for local boards of trustees. I have pulled out one such requirement for the local board of trustees that was added into Title 33, Chapter 18. Each local school board of trustees shall include in its plan for in-service training related to reading, coursework that covers reading skills development and also includes information related to diagnostic tools, to review and adjust instruction, and training to identify students who need special help in reading. This plan is required to be submitted to the Department of Education for review. Now for the changes related to literacy intervention in House Bill 790. The previous formula calculated the average number of students scoring basic or below basic on the IRI from the previous 3 years. This has been changed. The new formula in House Bill 790 calculates literacy intervention distributions to school districts and public charter schools using a 50-50 calculation. 50% of the distribution will be based on average full-time equivalent of K-3 enrollment as of the first Friday in November. The second 50% will be based on the number of kindergarten through grade 3 students who improve a full tier, meaning a student goes from a 3 to a 2, from 2 to 1, or from 3 to 1 from spring to spring administration of IRI. Or students who remain proficient based on spring to spring administration of the IRI, meaning a student scored Tier 1 in both Spring 21 and Spring 22. For kindergarten students, and when a Spring 21 result is not available, the calculation will use Fall 21 to Spring 22 scores. The new funding calculation also includes language that states economically disadvantaged students shall count as 1 3/4 students for the purpose of calculating the distribution. We will get to the collection of this data in just a moment. Note that expenditures related to the literacy intervention spending will still be reported. For FY22 reporting will remain the same as it has in previous years, and business managers as well as superintendents will receive this request via a spreadsheet in May. Next year at this time, we hope to have a more consolidated application through which we can collect spending related to the additional allocation in House Bill 790. To receive the additional 0.75 allocation for students who are economically disadvantaged, local education agencies will need to collect and provide this data through IC. Due to the pandemic, free and reduced lunch applications have not been collected for all students. As a result, there is not complete data to identify students who are economically disadvantaged. When free and reduced application data is not available, LEAs may use an income survey to identify economically disadvantaged students. This data must be uploaded into both the May and end of year IC upload. Now to talk about House Bill 731. This bill adds the definition of dyslexia to Chapter 18, Section 2. This definition was modified from the International Dyslexia Association. Their definition is widely used in education across universities, organizations, and states. I bolded and underlined the word characterized intentionally because the research is clear that there are characteristics we can see in children's data that indicate dyslexia, such as poor spelling or decoding abilities, language, or phonological deficits. LEA requirements under House Bill 731 include administration of a Tier 1 screening assessment for characteristics of dyslexia for students in kindergarten through grade 3. The Tier 1 screening will be the Idaho Reading Indicator Assessment. Local education agencies may select the Tier 1 screening that meets the legislative requirements for grades 4 and 5. In addition, all districts and charter schools must administer a Tier 2 diagnostic assessment to any student whose Tier 1 screening shows characteristics of dyslexia. LEAs are then required to provide evidence-based interventions for students identified with characteristics of dyslexia based upon the Tier 1 and Tier 2 assessments. Parents must be notified by the LEA of available interventions when a student has characteristics of dyslexia. House Bill 731 also includes requirements for the Department of Education. These include providing local education agencies with guidance and resources for general education teachers and school teams to identify characteristics of dyslexia and to provide intervention and remediation to these students. Identifying reliable, valid, and evidence-based tools for students in kindergarten through grade 5 that have been identified with characteristics of dyslexia, and identifying valid, reliable, and evidence-based Tier 2 screening and diagnostic measures for use by local education agencies. Maintaining a list of courses to fulfill PD requirements outlined in the bill is also a requirement of the department. Lastly, the department is directed to develop reporting mechanisms for local education agencies to submit information and require data. The professional development requirements in House Bill 731 state that the professional development may consist of online or in-classroom learning and must align with the Idaho Comprehensive Literacy Plan and the State Dyslexia Handbook that is in development. These courses must include evidence-based dyslexia screening and intervention practices for identifying characteristics of dyslexia and understanding the pedagogy for instructing students with dyslexia. As directed, the department will be maintaining the list of courses to meet this requirement. The professional development we just reviewed stated that not later than the beginning of the 23-24 school year, K-5 instructional staff, coaches, and those providing special education instruction who are employed by a local education agency shall be required to have received professional development specific to providing instruction and intervention to students with characteristics of dyslexia. The professional development requirements also state that all teachers, administrators, and school counselors with an instructional certificate in grades 6 through 12 shall be required to have received professional development on the characteristics of dyslexia. Additionally, not later than the 2025-2026 school year, all Idaho teachers or administrators serving students in kindergarten through grade 5 will be required to earn 1 or more credits of professional development, identifying characteristics of dyslexia, and understanding the pedagogy for instructing students with dyslexia, as well as providing dyslexia-focused interventions. The recertification requirement in the legislation applies to all teachers or administrators with an all subjects K-8 endorsement, exceptional child generalist endorsement, blended early childhood special education endorsement, administrator certificate, or school counselor certificate serving students in grades K through 5. The department will provide a course list to meet this recertification requirement. The department has created a literacy resource center for Idaho stakeholders to learn about early reading, including dyslexia. Find resources and get support and guidance related to House Bill 731 by clicking on the Dyslexia Information button from the Literacy Resource Center page. Now that we have reviewed the legislation, I want to share with you a K-3 statewide project, Idaho SMART. SMART is designed for teachers to receive job-embedded professional development aligned to our state comprehensive literacy plan. SMART stands for Striving to Meet Achievement in Reading Together. The goal of SMART is to train and support educators to provide science of reading aligned instruction to improve outcomes for K-3 students. SMART includes in-person fall and spring collaborations where teachers receive materials and dig into their current instructional practices. Training is provided for teachers through virtual fall, winter, and spring sessions. Learning communities are held monthly through a virtual platform. SMART also provides monthly one-on-one in-person coaching for teachers. SMART is designed to be job-embedded professional development that does not require teachers to be away from their school and students more than one day in the year. Virtual sessions are held after school hours in most cases. Teachers will be required to actively participate in 45 to 60 hours of activities between independent reading, learning, and coaching. The project is designed for teachers to voluntarily sign up because of the time commitment required to be successful in SMART. School administrators will need to sign off on teacher participation and be required to be a part of several virtual meetings throughout the year to ensure support for involved teachers within the school. SMART will be aligned to the K-5 dyslexia professional development requirements to recertify. Questions related to early literacy legislation or projects can be directed to Elena Nutt.